versus Edinburgh Rugby. Coach Jack Barnes. We're going online first, and then we'll do the floor.
Ashfaq, you there?
Hi, good afternoon, Jack. If you had any hair left, I think you would have pulled it out there at the end, but the guys managed to pull it off.
Yeah, Ashfaq, I mean, exactly that. I mean, you got to work hard in these competitions. I mean, you'd see the margins are very small. I mean, literally that last kick was worth 3 points. We would have got 2, we get 5. You know, that's the message I gave the players: is don't underestimate how tough this competition is. So, yeah, I just thought, again, not taking anything away from their performance. Every time we got a little bit of a buffer, we made 1 or 2 silly mistakes.
Yeah, Jake, because I just want to say now, I mean, you started off well again, 15-0 up, and you thought, okay, this is going to be easy bonus point win here, and they managed eventually to even get the lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, I think to be fair, Ashfaq, probably the players felt that as well. I think when they got 15 points up, I mean, they scored relatively easy from the pressure they built. So maybe, it's human. I think maybe they thought, it would just happen on its own. So, it's a lesson you learn, but it's easier to learn that lesson when you've got a win under the belt as opposed to a loss.
Jake, just maybe some of the first-time tackling perhaps wasn't the greatest. I know they've got some quick guys, and Darcy Graham has got a good step on him too, but just maybe fronting up a bit.
Ashfaq, I mean, obviously that was an area that we spoke about at halftime as well. We let them just get through the line. Obviously once or twice in the second half we put them backwards, which is the way we wanted to defend, and then made it easier for ourselves. But yeah, I mean, it is an area. It is an area that we've spoken about. That is a kind of team that if you do miss 1 or 2 tackles, they'll punish you and they'll offload and they'll keep the ball alive. I just said to their coach now, let's not underestimate. We got a lock who's playing there. He's got 1 test match. Their whole tight 5 have all played test match rugby. They probably, as a pack, got more test match experience than we have URC experience. So we also need to be mindful of the fact that it's not a team you think that you can just get here and beat them convincingly.
Because I just want to say now, Jake, in terms of the positives, I mean, to pull off a win like that against such a strong team, when you have a lot of youngsters actually who've just made basically the second year of top level rugby, and then Mornestein at the end again showing his class.
Ashfaq, you just said exactly what I was telling them. You forget, our front row, none of them have played test rugby. Our reserve front row, none of them have played test rugby. The locks that come on are relatively young. I think we still got one of the youngest teams in the competition. So, we'll get better. And these sort of results, when you get a win after not playing well, is also, some things that help you speed up that process as well. So, and then what more can I say about Mornay? It's almost like he's built. He's almost been born to kick those kicks. I mean, he seems to love those pressure situations.
Is there anybody there by you, Jake?
Yeah, there's some here. Ken's here.
Okay, now you guys can go so long.
Okay, Ken.
Pretty much asked.
Okay.
I guess during the game, there were periods when the guys did things really, really well. But there was a lot of inconsistency in the game. But there was times when
100%, Ken. I mean, there were times I thought, geez, we were outstanding. We defended certain sets, like 3, 4, 5 phases, and we were perfect. And then all of a sudden we got missed a tackle, and all of a sudden we were chasing each other again. So, and then attack-wise as well. There was a moment there when we were chasing, as in trying to score a try on the halfway line there. When we kept the ball for phase after phase after phase, the attack looked really good. And then we'd make a poor pass. I think it was that pass that went behind David. It was on. If David had caught that, and I'm saying not because he was just, the timing was wrong. If he had caught that, we would have got outside there. So, yeah, it's, Ken, I mean, I'm repeating myself. This is a young team. I mean, we mustn't get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we're far from where we need to be, experience-wise. But saying to them, to find a way to win, to show composure. I mean, I've coached for a long time. This would be, some teams would lose there. Some teams would be in the exact same situation and basically, accept the fact it's not their day. And yet, with 4 or 5 minutes left to go, we could still win the game, which is, I mean, that's a massive bonus as a group. It's a massive confidence builder as a group too.
Yeah, coach. Just on simply Matanzima, is of course, is he gonna start anytime soon?
Maybe. I think to be fair, he's just come back from an injury. And I think the one area he knows we've got to work hard on his scrumming. I mean, he's a great rugby player. I mean, he carries and he tackles, but he's still relatively new when it comes to scrumming at international level. And with those guys, all four of them being really good scrummers, it was always going to be an uphill battle for him. You know. So there'll be games maybe where when we feel he's confident enough, and the front row is confident enough. He hasn't scrummed for a while because of his injury. He had a calf injury. So, I mean, when that combination scrums a little bit more, I'm talking about at training and in a game, there's no reason why we won't start it.
Winning a game like this without the strong, or what you say, top players.
Yes.
If I can play like that and still win against a side like this.
Correct.
Puts pressure on you in selecting your team.
No, not at all. I think the one thing that coaches want is they want pressure when it comes to the best players being around and pushing each other, you know. So, I mean, Sabu will come back, Kanan will come back, and obviously Kirtley will come back. And that, you know, the confidence that gives our group as well. I mean, you see what happens when the Stormers Springboks go back to the Stormers or the Sharks Springboks go back to the Sharks. And there's an incredible boost to their team when you can bring those kind of players back. So, yeah, I think, I mean, today we saw Wilson playing 15, you know, David playing 15. The more guys that can push each other for positions, the easier it is, not the more difficult. Yes.
Are you getting what you really want from him?
Yeah, he's young, you know. I mean, he's young and as in age for a prop, and he's young in terms of the amount of minutes he's played at this level. So this will do him good. I mean, it'll do him good to learn and experience the pressure that comes at this level. You know. I'm just very thankful that we found a way to win. You know, it's obviously much tougher for a coach. If you end up, he kicks the kick over, you know, your team talk after the game is very different. But hopefully the message is the same. We've got to be better.
I think that call was correct.
That what?
That call on the tackle.
The tackle. Yeah, you know, again, it's difficult for me to. I think there's been a massive push towards making sure tackles are lower. I thought Strabino did really well. He dropped his height, probably hit the ball, you know, and I think common sense prevailed because they didn't card him or they didn't. I mean, the reality was they thought it was a penalty, if anything. And you know, as I said, guy missed the kick, which, you know, that's the margins. He gets it over, then we would have debated about is it a tackle, should it have been a penalty, you know, etc., etc.
Jake, you probably got the sort of weather you wanted today.
Yes.
Hot day in Victoria. 3 water breaks, I believe, per half.
Yes.
I know the first half took 55 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the second half was.
Ken, I must say, I know what you're going to ask me, and I'm going to tell you, I thought they managed the time really well, the Edinburgh guys. You know, changing boots, you know, coming off all the time, going back on, you know, I mean, I thought they managed it. At times I was a bit frustrated because we would have liked to have sped it up a bit more and kept the ball in play and maybe fatigued them a little bit more. But it's funny how it works, you know. Sometimes by them slowing it up, they ran out of time at the end as well. You know, so sometimes, you know, you can catch out yourself, you know, as you say. If there was another 3-4 minutes because they hadn't slowed the game up in the middle parts of the game, and as you said, you know, I mean, where do you get a guy changing boots 1 minute after half time when he's had 15 minutes in the change room to change his boots, you know? So, look, I mean, they're a clever side, they're well coached, and you know, we lost to them last year, so you know we now get a result against them at home, and that's positive for us. Good.
Any more questions, anyone?
Ashfaq, cheers, man.
I got one more, Jake.
Okay, what's it?
You're talking about the managing there, but also in terms of the referee, maybe some calls were questionable. Maybe you guys, you spoke about the lack of experience, maybe also playing the ref as well. You know, sometimes I know you want to play quick tempo, but sometimes just slow down, keep it tight a bit, because they seem to thrive off the loose.
Ashfaq, I'm going to say there's not many teams in the world that can put Hamish Watson on their bench. You know, he's a British and Irish Lion. I mean, just shows you the caliber of loose forwards they have, you know. And, you know, if I look at the game, I think there's one part of the game where obviously the ball hits the pole and they go and score, but just before half time, we won a line out at the back. We got sacked. We should have maybe you know, stayed stronger, scored there, and then we went around the corner and under the poles, we turned the ball over. You know, now that's a massive time. That's a massive turning point for me, Ashfaq. So, yeah, I thought they're very clever. I mean, they very, very hard on the breakdown. They don't give you any rhythm to play off, and we have to adapt, because the higher the level you play, the less time you have. The higher the level you play, the more decisions you have to make at the breakdown without just standing off and waiting. You know, so I mean, yeah, I do think that they did it well, and we probably didn't adapt as quickly as we could. But we'll work on that. We'll make sure that that's a lesson for us, is chasing into the breakdowns, finishing off when we're in the 22, and defensively understanding, you know, that we can't slip tackles. We've got to make sure that we get into the line, and we can't let teams go through us.
Last one, just on Forsen, the ball didn't really seem to go his way, but he tried a bit.
Yeah, look, Ashfaq, I think that is one massive bonus for me, is that he got through that 55 minutes unscathed. He's going to be a massive amount of confidence for him. And Chris played well. You know, I like the fact that Chris also played well. He didn't think, oh well, you know, that means the Springboks coming back, and therefore I'm going to end up, you know, not being able to play to my strength. So, yeah, I mean, that is a massive boost for us, that a guy after 11 months can come back, play 55 minutes at that level, and I'm talking about that test level against a quality side. And so hopefully, you know, that'll be the beginning of a long stint with us now, week after week.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
everyone.